transition from just simple visible cleanliness to actual cleanliness, which is waste processing. Sir, Honorable Prime Minister has given us the target of 2026. 2026 is a very short time from now. Literally, it is 36 months countdown has begun for SBM 2.0, and this would include 100% scientific waste processing setup along with legacy dump site remediation. The commitment and support from SBM 2.0, of course, everybody is aware of it, but today, coming to one platform and one forum, most of the people got aware about the entire approach of the government and the various initiatives that they can avail of under the various initiatives. Of course, we will be in touch with all our 100 to 120 key cities where these large projects will be going on. There is already a group of these cities with whom we regularly interact. And sir, there has been a uniform voice that has come to create a core team of some of the implementers on the ground and some of the operators from the field who will keep on continuously feeding various input on policy and implementation. We'll continue to work forward. Overall, sir, I hope that everybody has benefited from this day-long conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request Dr. Atmaram Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, for his address.
Thank you, sir, Minister sir, for this opportunity which I have got through the two ministries, Ministry of MOGA and the MOPNG, and both are very important as far as the CBG sector is concerned. I am very happy from the point of view that in 2008 in MNRE, I thought that the biogas is to be purified and converted to bio-CNG, a competitive fuel, and that has happened. After that, we launched a program there, a demonstration program taken up in MNRE, converted to full-fledged program in 12th five-year plan. We have done the first standard for the biomethane from the BIS. Then it was modified in 2016, and recently we have done the biogas plant standard. So those are the things which we have been doing, and the Indian Biogas Association, which I am associated with subsequently post my retirement from MNRE in 2011, we have been continuously writing to all concerned ministries and government, including Ministry of Petroleum, Natural Gas, MNRE, Niti Aayog, also to Office of the Honorable Prime Minister. I was going through the points which I raised in the letters. We had 45 points, and out of the 45 points, many of them have been implemented. So I thank the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, the MOGA and the MNRE and other concerned ministries, Ministry of Fertilizer, for implementing the suggestions which the Indian Biogas Association has made. Recently, for the fertilizer, what I have been talking about since 2008 through the demonstration program, that it's a biogas fertilizer plant. It's not only a biogas plant which was being thought of earlier. Only biogas, it is not economical. With fertilizer together, it is economical. But a lot of work has been done as far as the biogas or the gas component is concerned. Its purification, its transportation, all that has been done, and it is now at a stage where it can fly off. But the fertilizer component, not much has been done, and therefore we have to have the fortification, as was being talked of in the last session today. We have to purify, upgrade it, so that it becomes a substitute and better substitute for the farmers. And that can happen. I've given a nickname for that. We can have a separate class of fertilizers, the biochemie fertilizer. So biochemie fertilizer is another class which we have to bring in. The fertilizer companies, scientific institutions have to come up here, join together, and we should have the prescription for each and every crop. And for that, the development is one way, because I'm also a farmer. I have been with my people there if you are going to tell them apply FOM, apply liquid FOM, apply compost, and also apply chemical fertilizer, probably it's a difficult work and extra work for the farmers. So there is a need to have one bag where the chemical component, the fortified inputs for the particular crop, and also the organic component, the bioorganic component of the FOM, LFOM are being provided. So for that, the PROM we say, the fortified one, the phosphorus enriched organic fertilizer, organic manure, then we can have the CROM, the potassium enriched organic manure. We can also have the NPK enriched organic manure or the form. And therefore, all those things are required, and further work is to be done. So research is also required, demonstration is also required, and financial support is also required, which is not enough so far. And that has been being pleaded by different organizations who are involved into it. And therefore, 3 programs which are there, 2 programs, one program is this Satat we know, the other program for fertilizer, Indian Biogas Association have suggested, it's a SUBICAL, Sustainable Biomass Organic Biogas Organic Fertilizer Cultivation Program, so SUBICAL, and the other one is SUFIPRO for CBG. SUFIPRO is Sustainable Finance. The finance is insufficient. So Sustainable Finance program for the CBG and organic fertilizer from the CBG plants is required. So these 3 umbrella programs are required so that the targets which are envisaged under Satat 5,000, we are very short of that. Had the policies have been very good, 5,000 would have been implemented. So therefore it is time for now to upgrade our policies, better tune it so that the targets are achieved. And for the 62.2 million tons of bio-CNG production out of the total potential in the country, I have calculated 9.45 lakh crore is the investment. It's a social infrastructure investment which nobody will do. It is the governments, the central government and state governments, they have to come forward. Then only we will be able to harness the indigenous production of CBG, bio-CNG, and also the organic fertilizer for which the imports will not be required. And therefore, these 2-3 programs are very much required, and for the Satat, only 5,000 plants, we may require about 1.39 lakh crores of rupees. And I suggest that under the SUFIPRO, which we are suggesting, all the programs which are available in different ministries, the World Bank, ADB, everything is consolidated so that the single window clearance for the promoters. Similarly, all the programs, Pranam, PM Pranam, and many others for promoting the organic fertilizers, they should be brought under the umbrella of SUBICAL for the fertilizers. So 3 wings, the Satat, SUBICAL, and SUFIPRO for CBG is our suggestions, and I hope that Mr. Sir, with your having in charge of both the ministries, urban affairs, and also the petroleum and natural gas, it will be possible for us to harness 100% biomass potential. And the gas grid also, the CGD and the bio-CNG, CBG, bringing together, that has been done. Only last suggestion which I would like to make, that why do you want to take all the gas produced in the rural areas to the urban centers and industrial centers? Are we not providing LPG and gas to 100% population in the country? So that they need to have village gas VGD, village gas distribution system like CGD, and we dispense the gas then and there itself around. If there is a surplus, it can be brought back, or it can be put in the nearby pipeline. Similarly, the fertilizer. Why you want to bring all along from 50 kilometers, all the biomass waste, have the lot of carbon footprint, and take the fertilizer back to the farmers? It is better to have decentralized approach, smaller plants, relatively smaller plants, so the cost is better, it is highly economical, and we start with the low-hanging fruits of sugar mills, agro-food processing industries, and the municipal solid waste and liquid waste, the sewage plants, to start with. And if we do that, have a suitable policy which is attackable and attackable for the promoters, then only it is going to happen, it is going to fructify. So that's my submission in short. I believe that all of you together, the Honorable Minister, we strengthen his hand, we strengthen our Prime Minister's hand, we will really become really smart in a smarter city and a developed country by 2047. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We would now like to share the pre-recorded address of Ms. Charlotte Morton, CEO, World Biogas Association.
Good afternoon, everyone, from a very chilly London. And thank you to Rupa Mishra for giving me the honour of allowing me to say a few words to you today at the end of what I hope has been a very useful and constructive conference. The time you've all spent today is critical to the survival of our planet that we call home, though all of us are in a very privileged position to be able to make a difference. We humans generate over 105 billion tonnes of organic wastes every year. Untreated, these are causing huge life-threatening issues for all of us. However, if we simply treat our sewage, food and other organic wastes, we can stop these from polluting our rivers and oceans, which is killing off the critical biodiversity and nature on which we depend. Doing so would also reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by 11%, in particular methane emissions, which in their first 20 years of life have global warming potential, which is 86 times more damaging than CO2. But not only would doing this make an enormous environmental contribution, this is actually an extraordinary economic opportunity, especially for India, given that it now has the largest global population. As the IEA highlighted at the World Biogas India Congress last October, bioenergy has by far the largest potential of any renewable. And India's shown that it can deliver. The solar and ethanol pathways are huge success stories that demonstrate India's ability to overcome difficult challenges. And biogas is difficult. The key challenge here is one that's shared by all biogas markets around the world. Anaerobic digestion is a circular economy technology that involves many sectors that are not used to talking to each other, yet they all need to be aligned and appropriately incentivized. By achieving alignment, we'll address the key challenge of the industry, reducing the large range of risks involved in building and operating plants, and increasing the value of all the outputs, which in total would reduce the cost of capital and achieve an acceptable internal rate of return for investors. The other critical challenge is, of course, the urgency. To avoid the worst consequences of climate change, we need to meet the key 2030 targets. And 2030 is just 6 years away. So we need to focus, and we need to find solutions rapidly. As a founding member of the Global Biofuels Alliance, we would like to bring all stakeholders together to develop a roadmap which would ensure a shared vision for the Indian biogas sector, quantifying its potential and the benefits to India, and setting out a pathway for delivering that potential, achieving alignment on the policy and regulatory changes that are needed. We will also bring our Making Biogas Happen programme to this roadmap, which is a series of interlinked initiatives addressing 3 key challenges: the need for speed through standardisation, the need to build those thousands of plants safely and professionally, and we all know that speed is detrimental to that. And finally, capacity building. Tens of thousands of people will be needed to build and operate these plants. The first element of our Making Biogas Happen programme is the Global Biogas Framework, which will comprise all the regulations that are needed to implement, standardise and control a high-performing biogas industry, bringing the experience from other countries. The second element is the International AD Certification Scheme, which will set minimum standards for the health, safety, environmental and operational performance of biogas plants. The scheme will include a standardised life cycle assessment linked to biomethane certificates to credibly evidence and maximise the decarbonisation of each plant, and importantly, financially reward operators for the more decarbonisation they deliver. It will also include methane monitoring. It's obviously critical that as an industry we prevent methane leakage on our plants if we're to be a force for good. The third element of the Making Biogas Happen programme is a training platform, which is designed to allow anyone to access the training they need in their language anywhere in the world, and also for employers to verify that candidates for jobs have the training they say they have. I'd like to conclude by praising India for the climate leadership they've demonstrated as host of the G20 this year. I have no doubt that India will exceed its ambition in biogas, as it's done for solar and ethanol, and I very much look forward to working with you all to make biogas happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morton, for your message. अब हम माननीय सचिव श्री मनोज जोशी आवास एवं शहरी कार्य मंत्रालय से संबोधन के लिए निवेदन करते हैं.
Honorable Minister Shri Hardeep Puri ji, dignitaries on the dais and friends. I put myself into the shoes of an urban local body and think about the entire waste processing cycle. Segregation and putting up these CBG plants or waste to energy plants really are cumbersome and require a lot of effort, a lot of knowledge which most of the ULBs don't have. Easier option is to collect the waste and whatever segregation is feasible, do that and take it to a composting plant, put it there, put a team of self-help groups or a entrepreneur, but easier is a self-help group who can manage the composting plant and which generates some manure after a few weeks, and then take that manure and try to sell it in the market. Normally it doesn't sell for more than ₹1 or 2 per kilo. It doesn't really generate much money except to pay the salaries of those SHG workers. And then some you end up buying in the government for government's own gardens and horticulture requirements, and rest you give it free. That's what is, and a material recovery facility again run by SHGs, or sometimes a private entrepreneur also come, because it's quite a viable activity when you bring a segregated dry waste. There's a lot of valuable material in that, and with that material the facility is quite viable. So private sector is quite interested in material recovery facilities, and whatever is rest, I think that material recovery facility, whoever operates, they can put it together and send it to a cement plant or something to burn. That is the cycle which most of our cities are following, and it's an easy way. You take care of garbage, no visible garbage is available, everyone is happy. If you want to reduce methane emission, which as we heard is what 85 times or something more, has a more greenhouse gas damaging effect than carbon dioxide. If you don't want to burn your plastic in cement plant and you want more revenue generation, the amount of effort required is quite a lot. Large cities have no option, say Delhi, Mumbai and all, I think million plus cities, they have to go for a biomethanation plant and a waste to energy plant. I think the quantum of waste is too large either for composting or for a material recovery facility which SHGs can operate, self-help groups of women can operate, or the amount of plastic generated to just take it to a cement plants, or when you do a remediation of a legacy dump site, the amount of inert generated or a plastic or RDF generated is so large, it's quite an expensive business. So for them, you have to go for a CBG plant and a waste to energy plant, and a much more mechanized or a semi-mechanized material recovery facility. They do require our support, and we would provide that. Smaller plants, smaller cities, less than 1 million plus, yes, there is a challenge, and we need to bring cities together or other sources of wet waste to make CBG plants viable. If we have a a dairy facility or some restaurants or something, as I was saying in the morning, or a fruits and vegetable market or something from the agriculture, or 2-3 cities combined. Some way we have to do it. Same for the waste to energy plant. Probably a regional approach if the state has a high concentration of population, cities nearby. So we need to find different solutions for, I think, different geographies and different populations. But after hearing everyone and views from different players, one thing I would like to assure that Government of India takes this issue very, very seriously, and whatever be the problems which you are encountering, we'll make sure that we take care of them, and the vision which Honorable Prime Minister has given us and what we are dealing in COP, we would make it implement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Mr. Stephen Esselman, Minister Consular Economic Affairs, German Embassy, for his address.
Honorable Union Minister Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, Honorable Secretary Shri Manoj Joshi, Joint Secretary and National Mission Director Ms. Rupa Mishra, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me also from the embassy side, because today's challenges need cooperation, international cooperation. I'm delighted to address the valedictory session of the SBM-GOBARdhan mission, Galvanizing Organic Bioagro Resources Dam Biogas Conference. At the last Indo-German intergovernmental consultations, which took place in May 2022 in Berlin, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz have signed a green and sustainable development partnership between our two countries. This we want to fill with life in concrete issues. There has been a long-standing cooperation in the field of renewable energies and also environmental protection between Germany and India. There's a significant potential for further cooperation, also especially in the area to promote biogas production. Currently in Germany, close to 10,000 biogas plants generate an electrical output of approximately 6 gigawatts. They supply enough electricity for more than 9 million households, which in Germany is a lot because Germany has a total of 83 million inhabitants. And it covers more than 5% of German electricity consumption. Added to this is the heat generated by biogas plants, which is sufficient for 2.5 million households, and it accounts for around 10% of the renewable heat produced. Since 1992, German biogas plants have avoided over 270 million tons of CO2 emissions. It has been achieved by producing electricity, heat and fuel from biomass instead of fossil fuels, and by using biogas plants to digest manure, animal dung that would otherwise release methane. Germany's so-called Renewable Energy Sources Act sets a framework for its biogas sector, offering incentives for biomethane plants. With a tender volume of 600 megawatts for 2023 and specific feed-in tariffs over a 20-year period, which Germany can afford, it's costly, but we do afford it, the policy ensures long-term investment security, also for small players in the market. It simplifies participation for local players with low bureaucratic efforts, encouraging new and existing plants to contribute to a national target of 9 gigawatt installed capacity by 2030. Germany has the potential to significantly cut its reliance on natural gas, and it has to do so imports by developing its biogas resources. And additionally, it is possible to cover nearly 50% of the electricity currently produced in gas power plants by harnessing biogas from waste, agricultural byproducts, and energy crops, nearly 100 terawatt-hours have been developed, illustrating a clear path toward energy independence and sustainability. German companies have to adapt constantly, like all international companies. We have a lot of SMEs in this sector. India is developing a strong SME sector. India as the 5th largest economy, Germany is the 3rd one, and you are about to overtake us in the coming years, are really set well to cooperate together to produce in India, to develop technologies together, and to apply them to build up capacities. Companies are seeking new opportunities overseas. Germany is really trying to increase its partnership with India on ground. And we are known with our companies for quality, reliability, and innovation. And German biogas expertise, which has developed over 50 years, is in demand in emerging markets globally, and we're happy also we have good cooperation projects in India. And it has been mentioned before, hydrogen generation from biomethane is one additional interesting technological option. And this is achieved by biogas steam reforming, which is the separation of hydrogen and carbon. The necessary heat supply is achieved through partial combustion of raw biogas, resulting in green hydrogen. Germany started on focusing on waste management during the early 1970s, moving from the disposal of waste to the prevention of waste by using 3 R's, which are reduce waste, reuse waste, and recycle waste. Also, because of this relatively long history, the waste management industry in Germany has developed quite well and is willing to use this knowledge to share it worldwide and to cooperate. We have a quite large industry in that sector with 2.8 lakh people employed in approximately 3,000 companies. Always remember that Germany has a population of 83, which is a part of an Indian state, and an annual turnover of 80 billion euros. We have a Circular Economy Act, which applies to first the avoidance, second the recovery, and third the disposal of waste. The underlying principles is that waste must firstly be avoided, and this must be accomplished especially by reducing its amount and noxiousness. Secondly, be subjected to substance recycling or used to obtain energy recovery and disposal. For the last 50 years, waste management has been a part of education. Also, young people learn it. Children have to segregate at home into different waste baskets and all these different colors. We have seen a lot of this happening in India now as well. Actually, there's a more strict plastic policy as I experience in India and I've seen worldwide. We recycle plastic bottles, but here it's really trying to avoid them. Glass bottles in hotels, wooden cutlery, and so on. The Swachh Bharat mission, as I've learned clean and old Hindi, so I've asked my colleagues, has proved to be very successful in supporting sustainable low-carbon waste management in India. I'm delighted that German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action funded the Waste Solutions for a Circular Economy in India project, which is working together with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in supporting waste sector entrepreneurs through the risk-sharing facility being hosted by the Small Industries Development Bank of India. We look forward to more cooperation in addressing the waste management challenges in India that contribute to addressing climate change and achievement in circular economy. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. We would now start the interactive session with Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, Honorable Union Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs and Petroleum and Natural Gas.
Thank you very much and welcome to the interactive phase of this afternoon's discussion. I believe we have the Joint Commissioner of Municipal Administration in the Directorate of Municipal Administration, Tamil Nadu. Yes. Well, I have a simple question. We've sanctioned you 13 CBG plants in Tamil Nadu. Would you like to share some information on what steps you are taking to quickly implement these projects?
Very good evening, sir. Under the action plan approved in SBM 2.0, sir, as sir has rightly said, 13 CBG plants have been approved. Land for 12 plants have already been identified, sir. For one plant in Tirupur, we are in negotiation with the private party to purchase the land for CBG, sir. And the DFR for all these projects has been prepared. RFP now is in the evaluation stage, sir. We have an agency called TNIDB, which looks after the PPP projects, the financial modeling. So now the proposals are with TNIDB. So we are now evaluating the options that how much viability gap funding should be there. Should there be a royalty involved or not? So in that manner, we already had one meeting with the TNIDB, sir. And also, I think this conference which was held today will go a long way in educating. It educated us also. We have come up with the strength of 8 commissioners, sir, where all these CBG plants are going to come up. And from Chennai Corporation, because of rains, chief engineer only has come. So we are ready with the project, sir. And this conference, we got to know that there are various aspects in financing and all. There is a credit guarantee fund hosted by SIDBI, supported by many international organizations. And then there is a national bioenergy policy under which subsidy will be given to the private players. So we are now, I think, equipped with many weapons with which we can negotiate with the private players also. And also there were very pertinent points which were raised in the conference, that the evacuation of the gas. So there was a mention that if we use the cascade, it becomes highly cost intensive. So which might make it difficult for private players to come and put up the plants, and also since this is a new sector, so we also don't know how much royalty and all we can quote, sir. So since Honorable Minister is the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas also, and also now since the city distribution gas is now in the nascent stage in Tamil Nadu, sir, I think various districts have been divided to various OMGCs, so basically to OGMCs, so to go for the city gas networks. So if from these lands also, in the initial stage itself, the evacuation facility from pipes can be supplied, so it will show the seriousness of the government also, and for the ULBs also, that we are serious about the CBG plants, and it will definitely improve the marketability of our CBG plants.
Thank you very much. No, I just want to make a general point. You see, when you decide on the location for the establishment of a CBG plant, that decision on location should, in and of itself, already factor some of these questions in. I mean, I'm making this as a general, because point is, now we have this facility, where was it, in Sangrur, where a German company, I think Verbio, if I remember correctly, has set up a CBG plant. It's doing very well. But, you know, they would like that offtake to be linked to the grid. Yes. Now, it may not be possible everywhere, because the gas, by definition, doesn't lend itself to easy transportation. But I just want to tell you, the central government is dead serious. That's a point I'll make when I speak also. And I think where you need some help from the central government, my department, both is Housing and Urban Affairs, and also the department in Petroleum and Natural Gas, we are all ready. So please monitor this. We'd like to see these 13 plants operational earlier than later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next person I have is Mr. Binay Kumar Das from Bhubaneswar. Yes, I just wanted to know what initiatives you are taking to implement bio-CNG plants in Bhubaneswar.
Sir, namaskar. Sir, we have already floated RFP in Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporations for establishment of 4 bio-CNG plants at 4 locations of the city. And we have tagged different wards to 4 locations, so for easy transportation of municipal solid waste. As Secretary Sir had taken one meeting and sir had suggested these plants should be more closer to the FSTP and STP plants and little away from the habitation, so that there will be no public resistance as well. We have done it like that. And second is that we have already floated the tender and pre-bid meeting is also over. 16 intending operators have participated in the pre-bid meeting. They have shown their interest and they have raised few valid queries. We will definitely give reply to their queries and modify the RFP as well. And we are expecting that 4 plants will be set up. Besides that, sir, we are in dialogue with oil companies as well. We have a series of meetings, 3-4 meetings we have already conducted with oil companies like Oil India Limited, Gas Authority of India Limited and BPCL, HPCL. GAIL has already come up with a proposal and Oil India Limited has also shown their interest. So in terms of capital investment, we are going to provide the land and the oil companies will invest the plant. I mean, they will set up the plant. And in terms of O&M, the municipal corporation will bear the cost of the transportation, the waste, and oil companies will run the plant. In that way, we are planning to set up a bigger plant. So we are not only planning to, meet the requirement presently for future requirement as well, and rural and urban convergence as well. So
which oil OMCs are you in touch with?
Oil India Limited and Gas Authority India Limited, sir.
Oil India Limited.
Yes, sir. Oil India Limited.
Well, just in order to move these things forward, do you have a meeting of minds between these OMCs and your municipal corporations?
Yes, sir. Already at the level of principal secretary, sir.
Thank you.
We are planning to do it in a joint venture as well, sir.
Odisha was asking oil companies to pay royalty for solid waste because there's so much expenditure on collection. So we advise them not to charge royalty. I don't know what they're doing now.
Yes, sir. As per your advice, sir, we are doing it, and the land we are providing it with the permissive position. So land cost we are not charging. Sir.
Getting municipal solid waste and getting other waste converted into CNG is it's also a public policy objective.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you start asking them for royalty, that's not going to work. Because I'll tell you what happened in Haryana. We were able to make a success of the second generation ethanol plant, making ethanol from agricultural waste. All that we did was we asked the state government, in fact, to provide a small amount of money. If I remember correctly, I think 1,000 rupees per ton for the aggregation effort. You see, the surest way of running the system aground is if you say, well, I've got the waste, but I need to be paid for you to utilize waste. That's not going to work. So my advice to everyone, I'm not making this point because it's coming up in specific context of our discussion, but to everybody, look, this is the way into the future. I'm convinced that this is going to take off in a big way, but we'll all have to make our adjustments in order to meet that objective. So I'm glad that Secretary has already advised you against this royalty going route, because I think you're much better off that the thing gets converted into compressed biogas. Now, by the way, I was going to make a point later in the discussion, but I think I'll make it now. As part of our National Biofuels Coordination Committee meeting, which was held, which I chair, we have made CBG blending mandatory. That is 1%, 3%, 4% and 5%, starting with the years 2025-26 onwards, onto 2028-29. So in fact, there is a ready market which is going to be available for that biogas once we make it mandatory. And we have made it optional, I think, in the years earlier to that, but mandatory starting from 1 year from now, one year literally, 1 year, a few months from now. So these and other steps that we are going to take will help you. We stand ready from the side of the ministry and the central government to do whatever handholding is necessary. So I'm very happy that you've been able to address some of these areas. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir.
I believe we have somebody from SIDBI here, Shri R.K. Singh. Yeah.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. So this risk-sharing facility by SIDBI for small entrepreneurs, I believe has been rolled out. What are the plans to scale it up?
So like SIDBI has been working on greening the enterprise ecosystem, and waste to environment taste is one of our key missions which we have picked up. Besides directly lending to companies which are falling in this segment, just to kindle the market, what SEDBI has done is we have launched this risk sharing facility. And this is like a starter program which we have done along with GIZ. The idea is to scale this up after learning from this initial implementation. So we have already started issuing guarantees. The good part of risk sharing facility, sir, is we do the technical filtering first. So in terms of technical viability, we do the judgment, and then financial viability bankers do. So what we have done also, we have taken a pool of bankers, 35 plus, and gave them an exposure visit, as also had an interaction with Indian Biogas Association people, telling that what is their pain points and expectations. So accordingly, we are designing a bigger program wherein we are working with World Bank, so that this program can cater to projects which are bigger size, up to 10 tons, and the idea is to really kindle this market.
Thank you very much. I think there's interest in this not only in the World Bank but other large entities, based in the West, but which are interested in getting this done. So I'm not going to name them, but you know. So I think you may be able to tap them also for both expertise and for resources. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have a private sector participant here, Srinivas Waste Management, Sri Nagendran.
Good evening, sir.
What are your views to have CBG plant operators certified and graded in view of trained staff requirements to run the plants effectively?
Sir, it's a very important one for us as a country to progress much faster, because we started 2 years back in Chennai, and we started with EPC contractor, but last 1 year we had trained our own team, and we are running our own. Right from engineering to diploma holders and ITI levels, we get inducted people, and we learned on the hard way. If we had trained, we know that IBA and IITs have online training courses. It would be much helpful if you have standardized certificate programs at different levels, right from engineering, because a CBG plant cuts across various engineering streams, right from mechanical, chemical engineering and everything so on. So we can, plant like us cannot have an engineer from every department. So it is very imperative that a consistent course exclusively for bio-CNG is very need of for us. That's how we feel, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I am running against time because I have another engagement. So if the Joint Secretary, who seems to be the Master of Ceremonies for this, permits, I will just make a few short comments, and then if we can dispense with your vote of thanks, but because if there's going to be a separate vote of thanks, I'll have to speak even less because I have to be out. Okay. Well, thank you very much. There are two thoughts that struck me when I was preparing mentally for this session. One is that you guys are meeting at a time when a very important meeting is taking place, COP28 in Dubai. And I can't think of a better time for a meeting like this, where the entire global attention is focused on this very important area. And I entirely agree with the thrust of this discussion. I believe no other subject in the development space today is receiving as much attention as this whole business about sustainability, the need to make a transition to a more green, sustainable fuels, lifestyle, etc. I can tell you that when I heard that 150 cities in India were participating in this conference, to me that appeared as if the job is already half done. Because the very fact that 150 cities can have their representatives come to a meeting like this and discuss these issues, at the very least you will go back with an understanding and a reinforcement of the need to accelerate this journey. I'm very happy about that. I'm also thrilled that outside the government apparatus, 150 other entities, private sectors, I'm sure civil society, also participating. But there is something, when I say nice things are also, I get the feeling, I may be totally wrong, that I think the central government seems to be more keen on this than all state governments. I know there are some state governments which are very active and very motivated. But I think in some other cases, the issue is not being taken with the same degree of urgency. Maybe that's the term. But I'm sure that this interaction over these discussions in this meeting will help you. We have clearly identified what needs to be done, and I'm very, very happy. If you look at the national situation, how much municipal waste do we generate presently? About 58 million or so tons, metric tons. How much is this going to increase? I'm told that this will go up 3 times to 150 million tons annually. Within what period? Another few years. That is partly because the economy is booming, the economy is growing at a rate and sustained rate. Our consumption of fuel is going up, construction activity is going up, so I'm not going to go into those areas. But the good news is that whilst we were reprocessing only about 17% of municipal solid waste in 2014, we've taken that up to about 76% now, and I'm assured by the two, the secretary on my left and the joint secretary on the right, that you're going to take it to 100% by when? No, I know you're going to duck for an answer, but soon. Within 3-4 years. Okay, so that's on public record now. Now, but all I can tell you is that coming from 17% to 76% was not easy, but we've been able to do it. Even the bioremediation which has taken place is very impressive. 329 garbage dump sites have been remediated, resulting in the reduction of 426 lakh tons of waste. For those of you who are still not familiar with what a lakh is 100,000, and we in India keep coming back into lakhs and crores no matter how hard we try not to. So 42.6, nearly 43 million tons of waste has been remediated. We still have to deal with some legacy dump sites. I'm happy to share with you that we took a meeting with the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and I think we set up a committee to be able to fast forward and reinforce that as well. Let me also share with you some other developments that have been taking place. We are actively encouraging and overseeing the development of waste to energy and biomethanation plants with a cumulative capacity of 15,000 TPD, tons per day. We have action plans set for 55 CBG plants with 6,121 tons per day capacity have been approved. Further, 13 plants are being set up with state funds, and another 28 CBG plants are being set up by the OMC. Does this include the 40 or so we are doing in UP? This includes that 40? Good. Then if you look at other areas, the GOBARdhan scheme embodies this belief. The 500 waste-to-waste plants are being set up. These will include 200 CBG plants, including 75 plants in urban areas and 300 community or cluster-based plants against a total investment of rupees 10,000 crores or so. Now, I want to deal with one or two issues which apparently came up during your deliberations in the last 2 days. And we were fortunate, we have the CMD of Engineers India Limited, and then we had a discussion, and we have decided on the basis of what we've heard and what we need to do that, and based on the feedback which we've received today, we are requesting Engineers India Limited to set up a specialized subsidiary that will be focused on waste processing projects. You know, each of these projects which you set up will require engineering consultancy, engineering advice. This agency will provide focused support to the urban local bodies to implement the projects and also coordinate with stakeholders for providing necessary support for better project management. So that we don't put an undue burden on Engineers India Limited, which is answerable to its tax, to its how do you call them, shareholders. The Secretary is agreed to provide the financing support for the establishment of this subsidiary. Also, we appreciate the various teething concerns that we have heard in this emerging sector. These are issues of payment in ULPs, also apprehensions in commercial viability of municipal solid waste-based CBG projects. Hence, we have also decided to set up a fund housed in HUDCO and supported under SBM Urban 2.0 to provide partial credit guarantees for funded by government fees and government support. This will hopefully address various concerns of private operators and also of lending agencies. I think these two steps will go a very long way. The first one, the engineering advice, which will come from Engineers India Limited, who are executing a lot of projects in India and outside. And the second one, in a special focused way from HUDCO, which we will also finance under SBM 2.0 to make sure that these concerns are addressed and that teething problems don't take longer to solve than is absolutely necessary. I also want to move from CBG to the biofuel story. I can tell you, under the Indian presidency of the G20, we got an International Biofuels Alliance going. I'm very happy to inform you that when I was listening to the pre-recorded message from Charlotte, she was talking about the, her agency being a founding member of the Biofuels Alliance. And whatever I hear, the help from the interest by the World Bank, the interest by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, everybody is interested in the biofuel story. How big is the biofuels market? Today, it is probably, about $100 billion? I think in a very short time, it will be $200 billion. But anyone who's been around as long as I have knows that the kind of interest that is being evinced and the kind of people, I think how many we've got, 21, 22 members, we've got all the international organizations, members of it, there are more countries wanting to join. We will have a situation in which the biofuels market will grow substantially. And it's not a traditional biofuels market as you know it. I mean, one country, large biofuels producer making ethanol largely from sugar, or another one making it from maize. There is now increasing talk of cooperation between different stakeholders, governments, private entities. There is very focused interest in looking at new feed supplies, new things which can be used as feed. And even in my recent travels, I've been listening to projects which startups are doing, others. So I think there's a very promising story in the biofuels market. As far as India is concerned, we started with the very modest beginnings. Up to 2014, we had about 1.4% biofuel blending. We were wanting to do it only in a few of our states and union territories. We did only 1.4%. Today, we have a target of 20%, which was initially set for 2030. We are going to do it now by 2025. We had a target of 10% for November 22. We did it 5 months in advance. When we did 10% blending, we were able to save about 41,000 crores by way of import bill. That has been used to support our farmers, our agricultural community. And I think this 20% blending mindset essentially arose because somebody must have said that up to 20% blending of fuel results in the automobile components not requiring any alteration. But I think we are way past that now. There is a biofuels market which is developing. There's demand in other places. I see biofuels as a traded commodity, and I see going forward from here, we will go well beyond that 20%. And the automobile manufacturers also, as in Brazil, Brazil being the market, manufacturers in Japan and in Germany, Europe, etc., they're coming. Equally for compressed biogas, I think there is an international market developing. When we did this plant in Sangrur, I was asked categorically, why don't you also have people to produce to export? When it comes to green hydrogen, there is already, I think, a developing market for green ammonia. Again, the gas does not lend itself to transportation, and therefore I think the green hydrogen story will succeed in India, where there's a lot of local demand, where local production can take place and local consumption can take place. But there's no reason why green ammonia should not be traded and exported in a big way. I think steps are already underway. So I want to conclude, because I'm way past my time when I have to leave for the next meeting. I want to compliment the organizers of this conference. I want to thank all of you for being here. And I think the fact that 150 cities and an equal number of other organizations have participated in this is itself very good news. But the better news is that some concrete suggestions have come. And those suggestions we will take for follow-up. And I can assure you, the central government is very serious about compressed biogas, all our plans, etc. And I'm sure that enthusiasm will be shared not only by the state governments and the cities which are represented here and will come in future, but also by the other stakeholders. And I want to thank in particular all our foreign stakeholders, because you come in this with a very solid commitment to sustainability, and I think you will see that we share that commitment, and our actions will demonstrate how seriously. When the fossil fuel market goes into turbulence, I think the transition takes place even quickly, and I believe that we see that as work in progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your guidance, sir. With this, we conclude the session for today. Thank you to all the participants for making today's program a grand success. We thank all the panelists, speakers, participants, states and cities officials, private sector, industry representatives, sector partners.
दे दो मुझे लाइव दे दे एक्सक्यूज मी एक्सक्यूज मी एक्सक्यूज मी एक्सक्यूज मी सर एक्सक्यूज मी सर एक्सक्यूज मी मैम एक्सक्यूज मी अरे यार लगा दो जल्दी जल्दी आओ एक्सक्यूज मी सर एक्सक्यूज मी
Exit polls are showing that BJP is winning in the state of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Yeah. Yes, how do you see this? And also Congress was saying that OBC vote will go to